Hey, welcome to 94.3 Radio One, One World, your station. Now, the global corporate head honcho in the QSR, a quick service restaurant space, MERRILL PEREYRA, can be considered a veteran only figuratively, trust me. Otherwise, he is young in mind and body and soul. He does have an impeccable and impressive track record in executive management. He is the Managing Director, Pizza Hut Indian Subcontinent. He's also an author, mind you, of the book Expand Your Brand, How to Supersize Any Brand Anywhere in the World. And he is an Anthophile. What's that? Well, find out in our chat. Welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining us today, MERRILL.
Hi, ERICA. Nice for you to have me on board. Thank you very much.
So in Jan 2020, you came in as Managing Director, Pizza Hut Indian Subcontinent, to oversee the growth and expansion of the brand's footprint right across the subcontinent. Could you have picked a more challenging time?
Oh, well, that's a tough one, right? I came in September 2019. And so it took me a couple of months to settle in. So I settled in and I pulled my whole leadership team together. And then before we knew it, we went into a lockdown in March. And things like Zoom and Teams and work from home was such strange words and were such challenging times. But yes, never ever predicted it. I don't think anyone knew what was coming. I was booked on a flight to go back to Australia, and I thought, I'll wait for a couple of months and then see what happens, and then see what happens. Everything closed, borders were closed, airports were closed, and here I am 2 years down the track.
And here you are, 18 months into this pandemic. And only now, our businesses and markets sort of opening up and trying to recover after the devastating second wave. You're based out of Delhi, so you would know it more than any of us. What have been your key learnings, MERRILL, as one of the, the heads of the industry about navigating this crisis?
So for us, no one knew what was going to happen with COVID. And so the first thing that we had to do was to make sure that from our consumers' point of view, we had to make sure that there was trust in every bite. We had to make sure that the customers had full confidence in coming to Pizza Hut. And so we had to implement a number of things across the board, like what you see today, which is contactless service across delivery, takeaway, and dine-in. And then we also had to make sure that we followed, government protocols and guidelines on making sure our staff and our kitchens met worldwide safety and hygiene standards. In India, our business, more than 51% of our business is dine-in. And so with what was happening, we had to make sure that people who came into our dine-in restaurants felt they were safe. So we had to go in with social distancing in our dine-ins. We had to get rid of the menus, come out with QR codes. Things that we started 2 years ago, which today seem a bit normal when you go into a restaurant. A lot of restaurants don't have menus anymore. But these were the things that we had to basically, get started and start working on it and do it pretty quick.
Right. But coming to you on a personal level now, what have been your life lessons learned? And I'm quite sure there would have been a few.
Oh yeah. I was for the first time in my life, I was locked in on my own. And for 3 months, the only contact I had with the outside world was virtually. So that was challenging. I'm not going to say that was easy. That was challenging. But it also gives you time to basically understand yourself and also be grateful for what you have. So that was really, really a big change for me. Having a strong support system and network of friends and family definitely helped to keep me going. And then, you're at home, you're locked in, what do? You start to look at things that you never had a chance to do. So for me, it was reading, getting really big onto mindfulness, cooking. I converted a balcony into a gym and I started working out and getting really fit. And then,
Good one.
I love my music. So music was a big thing for me that kept me going too.
Okay, we're going to talk about that music in just a bit. But, now you're an NRI. You're actually based out of Asia or Australia. So as an NRI returning to the motherland, what were some of the changes that kind of shocked you and amazed you in a good way, in a positive way about India?
There were a number of things. In fact, I started writing this big note and kept keeping a file on what the things that really shocked me. But there were a few. To start off with, I left India 32 years ago. And when I left, my first salary was 700 rupees. So in the first week that I was in town, I took my team out for coffee, the 6 of them. I took them out for a coffee. And I was really shocked when I got the bill. So that was the first thing that really shocked me. Of course, when you convert it and everything else, it's okay. The other thing that I was really impressed with is, India has developed some of the best leaders in the world that run the best tech companies. But when you get to India, this really hits you, when you look at just how well technology runs from a home point of view. So I've never been to a grocery store for 2 years. I get everything online. Everything is delivered. I mean, yesterday, I got some coffee beans. I got a coffee grinder delivered to my door today. So that was another big thing for me, just how much things have changed in the last 30 years. Impressive to see aggregators. I think aggregators have taken food to another level and convenience to another level. And it's amazing to see just the options that you have. And another key point, and the last point was, just the change in infrastructure, just to see, the airports, the way the airports have been built. When I was there, growing up in India, there were just a couple of hotels, 5-star hotels. And now you've got, you've got a number of the hotel chains out here and they're all world class. And so these were some of the things that really, really hit me. But they were good.
Yeah. And what things have kind of stayed with you, Merrill? Been the same the last 30 years since you've left the country and you've come back?
Okay, so one thing that hasn't changed is we love our food. So we just finished our lunch and people start talking about what they're going to have for dinner.
Yeah.
This was when I was a kid. It's the same. And then the other thing too, when you live overseas, your lunch is usually just a sandwich or, you'll just get something on the go.
Yeah.
And and one thing that I noticed was that people come to work with, these dabbas with our 3 or 4 course meals for their lunch. That hasn't changed for me, and that was just hilarious. But those are the few things.
I know, nostalgic. When was the last time that you had your own pizza? And you can be honest.
Yeah, so I try and have pizza at least once a week. I try my best. If I can't do it once a week, it's at least once every 10 days. We do a lot of testing. So I'm fortunate enough that whenever they're testing something new, I'm always in the test kitchen having some of the products.
What a great job you have. Yes. Call me anytime. Free tester available right here. And, we've always had this argument, what toppings on pizza, and some people are like, oh my God, that's gross. I can't believe you put pineapple on your pizza and stuff. So 2 toppings that should never go on a pizza ever, according to you and your vast amount of professional expertise.
So there were 2 things that I thought I'd never see on a pizza. One of them was chocolate sauce, and the other one was ice cream. But a few months ago, or rather before, when I was in Australia, my kids got me to try pizza with chocolate sauce and ice cream, and it tasted great. So I mean, those things are really, really good on a pizza. I guess the one thing that shouldn't go on a pizza is lettuce. Lettuce doesn't handle too well with heat, so it really spoils the pizza. But that would be one thing I wouldn't put on a pizza. Okay,
so no lettuce, but you're good with chocolate or ice cream on pizza. Good to know. Good to know. Let's talk about mental health, which has become like the shadow pandemic around the world. These are like real issues, and dealing with stress and dealing with mental health. You as a leader in your industry, leading a team across a subcontinent. How did you and your team address this internally? And this is like, a pressing issue for almost all corporates around the world.
Yeah, that's a really good question. So when we got hit with the lockdown, one of the first things I did was we had a call with all our staff. And the promise I made to my staff was that we would basically save jobs. And if that meant taking pay cuts and everything else, we would make sure that we would keep jobs, and we kept that promise. So we kept that. As we went through this pandemic, we had to come in with things like a 24/7 support group. We had to go back and look at, our medical insurance and what we had that covered our people. The second wave was shocking for us and shocking for a lot of people in India. So for the first time, I decided to go out there and acquire oxygen concentrators for our employees. And then when the vaccination started, we managed to get the vaccinations, the hospitals to come out to the office and give out vaccinations to our employees. And also we did the same thing for our people in our stores. So we did a number of things. We also made sure that we started to introduce mental health initiatives. So we've had well-being counselors. We've had a lot of talks on guided meditation and tips on self-care. I do a Monday message to my team every Monday on some of the things that I've learned throughout the week. And it's nothing to do with business. It's all about self-care and things that I do, from a meditation, from an exercise, from a diet, from a sleep point of view. We also implemented this thing called a speakeasy, which was 4 or 5 people get onto a call with me and we just have a chat about what's happening, how we coping with everything and all that. And then the last thing that we did was we implemented a half-day Friday. So every Friday is a half day. And then worldwide, we've introduced what we call recharge days. So we've got 6 recharge days on top of all your public holidays, where it's just a day off for you to just go out there and take some rest and get better.
Well, that's good to know. I believe that India has the largest number of public holidays in the annual calendar. Is that true? And
yes,
over and
it
above
is.
that,
and on top of that, you get 6 days. You get an extra 6 days, plus you get half-day Fridays, which is not bad. Which is
you're a
really
good boss, Merrill. You're a great boss. Okay, let's talk about innovations. Being flexible, innovating, creative, to adjust to real-life situations, especially in the QSR space, where reaction time is paramount. How do you develop those qualities in a manager?
So we as a global brand, you've got a lot of systems. You've got a lot of systems in play. But the biggest thing for us is you just leave it to the process entirely. The process molds you into being flexible, innovative, and being a creative person. In our business, we've got challenges every day, and there's different challenges. Store people have different challenges with serving customers. We have different challenges with our office and everything that we're doing. So I think just being really, really letting the process go through, and with time you begin to, the more flexible you are, the easier it's going to make you make you a better manager. So for us, that's one of the big things. Also, the other thing is being able to surround yourself with really, really smart people. I would honestly say that I've got one of the best leadership teams in India. Very intelligent people, really smart. They know what they're doing, and you just guide them. So for me, having a team, and as a rule, I've always had this rule, hire people that are smarter than you. So. And that works for me. It's worked for me for the last 30 years, and it'll keep working for anyone else too. So
that's a good point. Let's bring it to your book then. Expand Your Brand, How to Supersize Any Brand Anywhere in the World. Indian-made brands are poised to go global. What should they be keeping in mind when making their business pitches to a global customer base?
The biggest thing is understanding your customer deeply. Is to make sure you really understand your customer, because what works in India may not work in the US. And you've seen this with global brands who come out here to India. They come in here, and while they've got the global, in the food space, you've got the global products. And if you just accept Pizza Hut, for example, we've got a chicken tikka pizza, we've got a veg paneer pizza. So while we've got a number of the global items, we've also managed to localize it to suit the Indian palate. But from an Indian company that wants to go overseas, I would say understand your customer deeply, and then what is your unique feature? What do you have to offer that somebody else doesn't have to offer out there? So those are the 2 things in my mind that come, that says what you need to do.
Okay. And what makes your brand of leadership unique and something that leaders of tomorrow could emulate? What do you bring to the table as a leader?
The big thing for me is to lead strategic change. I'm big on leading strategic change in the organization, and even when things are running well, you keep pushing yourself to find the next blue ocean. Having a very collaborative work environment works really well. Another key thing for me is treat employees the way they want to be treated. I think that's a big thing for me. Suppliers that we have, they are our partners, not our vendors. Treat them like partners. Emphasize on ethical practices. I have a high focus on integrity, and for me, leading with empathy is a big one.
Yeah. Okay. So you're an Anthophile, Merrill. That would be a lover of flowers and flower arrangements. I would love for you to share that story with us. How did you pick that up as a hobby?
So a few years ago, I was in Indonesia and I was going through a really tough time. And a very close friend of mine introduced me to flower arrangement. So I spent a year going to like a flower arrangement school.
Is that right? They've got a flower school?
Yeah, so I went, there's a flower school, yeah. So every
Wow.
Sunday you go there and you spend 8 hours and you do it. And for me, that was the only thing that got me to switch off from the rest of the world. So if I had my phone switched off, and I didn't think of anything else but just getting flower arrangements done. And so that's been something that I've done, and I followed it right through. So it's been really good. It's good.
Amazing.
It's good for my mind.
It is. I mean, I hope you kind of make the trip down to, say, Bangalore, even up north, where where the flowers bloom right there in the valleys. That's stunning. That's a trip you should take. Yeah.
That's the plan. That's the plan.
Okay, listen, you're going to talk to us about music. I would love to know, what's on your go-to playlist.
So for me, music is my oxygen. Okay, I have every room in my house has got speakers. So I really feel sad for my neighbors, but that's me. And I'm sort of a moody music person, right? So I start my day pretty early. I wake up at 4 a.m. And so from 4 a.m. to 6 a.m., the music I'm listening to is very spiritual, and I've got mindfulness music too. But then by 6, when I hit the gym, I'm really listening to some serious stuff. So some of the things that I listen to first thing in the morning when I'm at the gym is Pang, Loud Luxury, YVE48. And the good thing about Spotify and AI is they basically pick up the things I play. Yeah. And I've got all these amazing playlists and this gym stuff that I use. So that's what I do when I start the day. The rest of the day, it's very easy and it's very chilled out for me. So I'm a huge fan of Sam Smith, Ed Sheeran, John Mayer, London Grammar. Okay. Another one that comes to mind in the evening is J.P. Cooper, Shawn Mendes.
Oh, yes.
I was fortunate enough to have front row seats and watch Callum Scott a few years ago.
Okay, nice.
So that's it. Yeah. So it's a mix, So morning is very, when I'm at the gym, it's all pumped up music, but then throughout the day, it's just this easy flow. Yeah. And I love it.
I'm very impressed, Merrill. Very impressed. Okay, but check into Radio One. We got that playlist for you for sure. So going forward for the business, how do we recover from what's been one of the most horrific years for hospitality as a whole? Some tips maybe for smaller businesses that are bleeding at the moment.
Yeah. So in the food sector in India, it's divided into unorganized food and organized food. So you would consider Pizza Hut and the brands out here who've got multiple chains as organized food. And organized food in India is about 30%, and then the unorganized food is 70%. The ones that have been really impacted is the unorganized food. I mean, if you look at, depending on what magazine you're reading, nearly 20% of them or 30% of them are going to close in the next 3 years. So they've been really, really challenged. My thing to anybody, whether it's small or big, is make sure you stay relevant. What worked for us 2 years ago is not going to work for us right now. 2 years ago, we had a really healthy dine-in business in India. Today, most of the dine-ins are closed, and I know things are opening up, but still dine-ins are closed. So how do you move your customers from dine-in to delivery and takeaway? Yeah. And if you're going to have dine-in, how do you make sure when customers come into your stores that they know that they're safe in dine-ins? I think another big thing for anybody is digital, is to focus on your digital capabilities. And a key thing for people in business, in any business, and especially in small businesses, is to remain result oriented. Set milestones on the bottom line. Sometimes it's better to cut your losses and shut down than to stay open and keep going into debt, and it's not working, right? And for me, those are some of the things that I think are really important for all of us in business, especially small business.
Right. Well, thanks for that. Okay, let's move to Gen Z, I think it is now. They've got Facebook, Insta, YouTube, Twitter, Snapchat, Discord, TikTok, Reels. You don't just tweet anymore, apparently. You can also fleet as well. Social media, is now used to sell and market and engage. Your comments, how do you keep up? How do you keep up with all of this?
So it's not easy, right? But for them, and you look at what they're looking for, and we've done a lot of research on this, for them, it's innovation is definitely a key. And so we are constantly innovating and coming out with different things. So we've got different things on the menu happening throughout the year. For them, it's also value. So we've got a lot of value offers, like, we have a My Box, which is a meal for one. We've got Fantastic Four, you've got different meals. And then also, we've also been able to do something different this time, is where we've had a strategic tie-up with Unilever, where we've been able to deliver ice cream, which is the first stop, I think, in any part of the world. India is the first stop to be delivering ice cream. But talking about going back to Gen Y, they're looking for something. They're always looking for innovation, and they're also looking for something for great value. So if you can keep those two, you've got a good head start.
Right. Okay, I'm going to stick with, Gen Y, Gen Z, pizza for them today. I mean, is it going to be the same going forward? Or will it be like you're going to have deconstructed pizza, olives on the side, gluten-free, keto-friendly, organic, thin and crispy? You know that. How are we going to evolve? How is the pizza going to evolve for the future generation?
To survive, it'll have to evolve. And you'll keep the more time you spend understanding your customer, and the more time you spend understanding them, the better it's going to be for your business. I mean, a lot of our staff, a lot of the partners that we work with hire a lot of the Gen Y, and so we're constantly looking at what is it that basically drives them. I mean, in some parts of the world, we've also locked in with Beyond. The company Beyond Meat, which is the plant-based product. So we've got that happening in our pizzas.
Yeah.
So we haven't done that in India, but it's being tried out in a number of places around the world with Pizza Hut. So we'll always keep the innovation going. We'll always make sure we understand, and the more we understand them, the better it's going to make it for our business. And we'll have to be flexible.
Yeah.
What's working, like we've seen what's happened in the last 2 years with businesses.
Yeah.
And the ones that will survive are the ones that are going to be able to keep changing and keep being flexible.
All right. Well, it's been a fantastic chat with you. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm going to try pizza and ice cream, pizza and chocolate, maybe, who knows, for dinner. But very insightful. Thank you so much for joining us today on 94.3 Radio One World, your station.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Erica. And thank you, Radio One, for having me. Thank you.
94.3 Radio One. One World, your station.